Hey Flosstube, Lisa here at Shady Tree Stitches, coming at you on the 1st of July 2022 with my June wrap-up Flosstube. This is a video about cross stitch, so if you're into that, then grab a cuppa, grab your stitching, sit back and see what I have to show you. And if you're not into cross stitch, then feel free to just scroll on by. So I'm a cross stitcher from New South Wales in Australia, and I do this Flosstube with my friend Jenny, who will be back with us next weekend, hopefully, for our usual monthly catch up with Jenny. I apologise that it's been a while between videos. I did do that little dyeing one in the middle, but I just haven't had time to film a full Flosstube. So I apologise that it's been a little bit longer than I would normally like. Do you know that since I saw you at my birthday retreat, I have done 5,888 stitches. I've had a few very light on weeks because that was about 3 weeks ago. I've got it all written down in my trusty diary. Sorry, I keep looking over here. I should look over there. And it tells me what I'm doing, what I've done, where I'm at, where I'm going, and what my plans are for July. How can it be the second part of the year already, friends? I just don't know where it's gone. Anyhow, not to worry. So let's get straight on to the important stuff of what have I been stitching. So since I filmed, I have been working on numerous projects, and in not really any particular order. I did some work on my ABC houses by Little House Needlework, and you can see that I've managed to stitch on this one here. Now, if you look really closely, I don't know if you can you see that little tear in the fabric? If it will focus. There's also tears down here in the grass, but I was really pleased that I was able to stitch over them. So this one was my animal run to stitch on each month. Now it's just a general piece to stitch on each month, but I do intend to get this finished by the end of the year, so I will be keeping working on it. And what I'm really liking is that I've started to use variegated flosses on some of them, to just pick randomly from my set that sort of match the picture. So really happy with that. I think I have done, having a look at that, 400, 900, about 900 stitches on that one. So this one isn't one of my Whip Go thousands, but I still want to try and get close to it. So 900 stitches on that one. So toss them all over there. I'm in my lounge room today, as you'll notice. You'll see it's all set up. You can see my dining room table, my ironing board. This is the big couch I stitch at, because I'm going to show you later my wonderful haul. Okay, what else have we stitched on? We have stitched on Lantern Lane. Now, Lantern Lane, which is this lovely little one by Little House Needleworks, is a piece. Apologies for Zoe, she's whinging because she wants me to throw her ball to her. I'm busy. It's a piece that I'm also hoping to finish this year, and this is where I'm up to. I used it for a prompt where I had to stitch in gold thread. I'm stitching this in silks, and it's on a 32 count Paddock Lane Designs fabric in a stormy grey. So I actually have done quite a bit on this. I did 600 there, and I came back to it another day, which must be in this month, because the page rolls over in July, so I have to flip between the two. That's so annoying. Another 400, so, and 22. So I've done just over my 1,011 goal for that. So that is where my Lantern Lane is, and I will be trying to put pictures in here. Don't you love it when the husband films because you're filming, he rings because you're filming a Flosstube? Sorry about that interruption. Luckily, I will be putting in the before and after photos, so you will have already seen Lantern Lane. And Lantern Lane will be continuing, in case you've forgotten, on my plans, because I'll tell you why later. All right, next one in my list that I stitched on is the Brooks Books cakes, and this is a free pattern that you can get from her website, and I have been busily stitching on this lovely autumny cake here with the sunflowers. So I did a lot of work on that. I'm stitching these, well, originally I was going to stitch them all on one piece of fabric, but if you notice, I'm not going to fit them all. So they'll be on 2 bits of fabric, and I'm going to have 8 on this piece and then 4 more on another one. But I'm going to be sort of showing them in sets of 4, so I can display them 4 at a time for the 4 months. So it'll be in three changes in the year. I love the idea of seasonal rotation things. So in my cakes, I did 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900. Pretty sure I got to the 1,000, so it's past its level. And so my little cakes will be going back to whence they came, in this lovely Sussy Pouch bag that I have them stored in. I'm starting to know, yeah, there's my other piece of fabric, that pinky colour, so it should look good. I'm starting to recognise, you know, which projects are in which bag. A lot of people have them labelled. I just know, oh yeah, my cakes are in the B bag. Makes so much sense to me. The next one I've worked on is a long dog, and it is the Quinto di Acuto, the pointed 5th. And this one I am stitching again on a 32 count Paddock Lane Designs fabric in an unnamed colour, but I wanted a wacky colour so I could stitch the navy blue, and then I'm going to pull like the hot pink and the bright yellow out to do some of the animals in the sections. But this is in the centre of the section, and I am doing this one in a navy blue of, I think, where is my navy blue? It's like 64, I could be wrong. So my pointed 5th still has some work to do on it. I have actually only done just over 700 stitches on it, which you'll see from before and after is, you know, a lot of this and all the way up there. I want to try and get the scaffold done on the fabric, so I may just keep going with that for a while. So I still need to keep working on this. That's the bottom line. It still needs to have some more love until it reaches that 1,011 for starters. Then I was moved on to my SAL, and my SAL is the Nutcracker Village, which is starting to look really quite nice. I have nearly finished the first section. Now I just have to find all the other patterns I've hidden somewhere safely. But you can see that's where I'm up to with my Nutcracker. I have been diligently doing this on a Wednesday night with my friends on Zoom, 300 stitches each, and you can see that I've got a whole bunch of stuff done this month. So I'm really enjoying getting that up to date. This is also on a piece of my fabric that is actually in the turbulent colorway, and I love this fabric. It's in the opalescent, but can you see how it's got like a deep brown and green, deep green modeling? I'm really enjoying that, and I'm loving it for the Nutcracker Village. Sort of reminds me of a snowy sort of, you know, town. Then I worked on another piece that got called for last month, which is my blue jeans and daisies by Blue Ribbon Designs. And this one was really fun to stitch on. I'm stitching it on a piece of blue fabric, piece of blue linen that I acquired from somewhere. It's not one of mine, but it is giving a good emulation of that denim from the model. And that is where we're up to with the blue jeans. And I did get over the 1,011 stitches on it. So it's got, I can see a bit of really pale blue down the bottom, as well as the house is pale blue. There is white elsewhere in the daisies when I get to it, but that is the center of the pattern. So really was enjoying stitching on that. I'm sad to see it go away, which is why I definitely want to narrow down my options for next year, because I want to keep working on them. I love all these whips. I don't want to have to keep throwing them away and saying I can't work on that anymore. So they are the ones that I was working on apart from my bookshelf. Now this is not quite up to date because I have to still do 2 more books for the month, but this is where it currently is sitting for the month of June, and I've moved the Q-snap down so I can do more of the border. I got all the way across here and then discovered that I'd stuffed up back here with my crosses. Went over 1. That's the downside of doing it on 32 count. So next time I have to pull this out, I will be finishing off February and doing whatever is in the middle here. Then I'll be able to work on the shells and get on June, and then get onto the shells and work my way through. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying keeping up with it. I'm already starting to think about what will I do next year, because what I'm loving is that this shows me my stitch count. I mean, you can see how boring I was in May. All the colours are similar, but in June we're starting to get some different colours again, which means I got different stitch counts. So I'm really, really happy, and it's going to be a great record. I don't really care about temperatures. You know, I have no interest in charting the temperatures, but I do have an interest in charting my stitch counts. So I have to work out what design, there's so many to choose from, I want to do for next year. But hey, we're only just heading into July. I'm going to enjoy this bookshelf for the rest of the year first. So that one has had only about 300 stitches since you last saw it, but that's okay. It's not on my 1,000 list, it's just to keep up with it. Sorry. See, this is part of why I haven't made cross stitches, because words are difficult, brain is tired, Flosstubes, because, you know, I always have that obligatory yawn, and some people don't like seeing you yawn on Flosstube, and I'm trying not to, but it doesn't really always get there for me. My samurai, he had some more love. He'd already got called early in the year, but I stitched on him for the retreat, and since the retreat I've done another 300 because I needed something to do with man. He's a man. He's also fitting in to one of the Down Under Divas prompts, which has a big Indigenous Australian warrior man with his spear, and I thought the samurai dude with his traditional dress and his swords was a very similar match to that. I need to get this finished because I have promised a pattern to Knitting Nat Stitches. She's already delivered me May, so I need to get this one done. So this will be staying on my list. That will come up again in plans. So I think that is all that I stitched on in June. That wrapped up June. I actually didn't add up how many stitches I did in June, but it wasn't a lot. But I did do a little bit of stitching in July, since today started, on Anzac. Anzac I also want to finish by the end of the year, and I've done all the part from here across there above the kangaroos. So that's the center of the pattern. You can see that I've done down the bottom there. So I've got about a third of the pattern left to go, and it will be done. So it is staying here on my plans. So I know it's out of order, but plans are important. I am focusing on doing still my 1,011 stitches on all my Whipco pieces that have been called. Now for this month coming, I pulled them out. They've all gone over here. Okay, so my Whipco pieces have been called, and they are as follows. Christmas Eve Sampler by Joan Elliott. The 2020 Pandemic Sampler, the traditional one. I think it was Sassy Girl. Really excited to get back to that. My legitimate oldest whip, Celtic Winter by Lavender and Lace. Really excited to get back to her. In particular, she's on a scroll frame. Gonna make sense to you in a minute. My good old South American Angel, love her. I love these patterns. Those colors are just so gorgeous. One of my newer ones, little Halloween sampler, and another one I love working on and I want to try and get finished, Easter House Trio from Waxing Room Designs. So they are my 6 that have been drawn this month from Whipco. So I'm planning to get started on them pronto and knock over their thousands. But I still have to do some work on Pretty Little Sydney, plus I want to get this one finished this year. So it's going to be hanging around. As I already said, I still have to do about another 300 on Kinto. Lantern Lane, I want to get finished. Samurai, I want to get finished. My bookshelf, I need to keep up with. My Nutcracker Village needs to be kept up with as my sale. My ABC houses want to get kept up with. And then I also have not stitched yet on Cozy Cove, as far as I can tell. I either stitched it and didn't record it anywhere, or I didn't stitch it, so I'm inclined to think it might be the latter. So I need to do 1,011 stitches on Cozy Cove, on the Rocks by Juniper Designs, on Peacock by Teresa Wensler, on my Chinese Garden Mandala by Chatelaine, and Craft Village by Soda Stitch. They are all whipcoes that I have not yet touched. I was up to date until May, and now at the start of July I have 5 that I have not touched, plus the 6, plus a few more I have to finish. It's just getting a bit overwhelming. So I'm going to leave those ones just for now, and maybe I'll touch them in another month, or when I find I have nothing else to do. But I'm really more focused on getting the finishes done, and that's because by the time my 50th year is over and I turn 51, I want to be down to 50 whips, or I can scrape in it. I can have a 51st for a birthday start. So I'm going to knock over, I'm down to 79, so it's only another 29 to get rid of this year. So I need to focus on that more than just knocking over the Whip Go goals. Now, to help me with that, there's so many things happening in July. The Stitchiest Adventure is starting, so I'll be stitching on that. I've got Hell Stitching, I'm stitching the team, keeping me busy on that. I've got my Utopia tribe, we're keeping going with that. Then we've got So You Think You Can Stitch is having a survivor competition. I'm in a team for that. Then I decided that I had to play Uno for semi-sane stitches. And in Uno you pick 4 pieces and you have to stitch 100 or 200 stitches on them depending on what the Uno cards call every day. So I thought that might be good to focus on the ones that are nearly finished. My Anzac and my Lantern Lane. I think which ones did I pick? My Pretty Little Sydney. That was Lantern. It's not nearly finished, but I want to keep working on my stitch in time. And then I can't remember, it was probably the Samurai. It's either the Samurai or my ABC houses. So you'll be seeing a lot of them as I play Uno with those. So they're going to be featured quite frequently, as well as doing all the other things. I'm still squeezing in prompts where I can. I'm done pretty well actually in June for getting the prompts done. Done all the monthlies for the daily 30, getting through most of the weeklies. Ever since I stopped doing the actual daily 30, life's been a bit easier for me. So yeah, lots and lots and lots to do. Okay friends, that then brings me to my Stitchy kindness and the haul. I have some. Now I'll start with haul because it's smaller. Oh, is this haul? No, I don't have haul. Well, I have haul. It's business related. I bought myself one of these little smart things, so that when I go to retreats and things with my fabric, I can actually sell them to people easily by tapping a card. So that's pretty exciting. Stitchy kindness. Okay, I have a couple of patterns. This one I apologize to Gigi. She gave me at retreat because she'd finished it. Little House Neighborhood, and it's called The Harvesters. So thank you Gigi for that. I will look forward to doing that. And the beautiful Martha from America found this book of fairies, Marbeck, And there's a whole bunch of different patterns. So there's the fairy godmother. Do they have a colour one in the middle? We've got Christmas fairy. We've got a flower fairy. We've got a green fairy. And love this one, the frost fairy. As well as the one on the front cover, which is, I'm trying to see what it says, forest fairy. So that's a whole bunch more Barbara Bart's fairies for me to stitch. So I need to get South American Angel done, don't I? Yes, Lisa, you do. You do need to get it done. Okay, and you guys are actually sitting. The reason we're out here is because the stitchy kindness of my Shady Trees Retreat friends is just awesome. I got my new Gus's Creation stand. So thrilled with it. I only built it today and I love it already. So what I love about it is that I can sit fully reclined in my recliner here, and I'll insert a picture here, and stitch sitting upright, back supported, stitching two-handed, nice and fast. Everything's in my reach. You guys are currently clipped onto the stand with my tablet attachment to film so that it keeps it nice and still, but I will take it off in a minute and show you the frame and how it works. But I really love it. You can set it at different settings, different heights. It works from the side or from the front, and as I said, I haven't even got it at the fullest extension, and it's working with my recliner chair up. So I'm super happy with it. Thank you again so much to my Shady Trees friends. You all know who you are. It is just the best 50th birthday present ever. So thank you so much, girls. I love it. I might get in trouble when hubby comes home and sees it because he doesn't like my old praying mantis. Now on that, guys, if you're in Australia, in particular New South Wales, I have got a fantastic frame, a big wooden scroll rod frame that I bought from Victoria House a few years ago, and it is fantastic for holding frames if you sit in a chair, not a recliner. I have got my praying mantis, as I call it, available to give away to anyone who would actually like to come and get it from me, or I can arrange to drop it off somewhere. It's too heavy to post, but I would love to find a home for someone. I even have potentially a couple of scroll frames that can go with it, so I want to give it away to a good home. Otherwise I'll be taking it to the Daisy Train retreat in September to see if someone wants to have it then. The Daisy Train retreat is closed, it's full, but it's being run by Teresa Craig from Daisy Chain Stitchery and Nikki Noodle from Nikki Noodle Stitches, and it's being held right here in my home area of the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. So super excited to be going, super excited to have a store with Paddock Lane Designs fabric. I'm really feel blessed to be able to do that. So let me turn it around and show you the frame. Okay, get to see my fur babies too. We have Dudley sitting on the couch next to me, and down there on her bed waiting for me to kick that ball back to her is Zoe. So this people is the Gus's Creation front stand. You can see it has really, there's my feet, it has really solid wooden base, and it goes up. It has got a height adjuster here, but I've got it just set in the middle. That thing hanging on it is a tightener, and then the crossbar has all these different holes. So you can see that at the moment I have got it on the 6th out of 9 holes. 6 out of 9 holes. And then if I take my Anzac, you can see that it's got one of these wonderful ones where you can just rest it on. Now I have actually purposely set my stand up to a different height because when I recline, I sit a bit on a slant. So I have set my 2 bars at slightly different holes so that it's straight when I'm stitching. But you can see that this swivels around. So you could be sitting on a chair over there and stitching with it sideways. Or you could sit on a chair that way and stitch on it sideways. I like to stitch it front on. You have the different knobs that you can loosen and tighten to change the angle. So the angle of this part, if you like it straight, you want to stitch on it flat. Some people like stitching flat, so you can tighten it at different angles. And you've also got these sidebars that you can move in and out. So it's really awesome. It's beautifully well made. Look, he even puts a beautiful little engraving of a bird on it. Just the attention to detail. It's made of a beautiful jarrah wood. There's his trademark. Beautiful jarrah wood, beautifully finished. I just need 2 hands to straighten that again. I thoroughly recommend it. It cost me, including postage, well, it didn't cost me, it cost my friends $340 to get this one to me, but that is a great investment. It will last me a lifetime. So there you go, guys. I thoroughly like it. Just fantastic that you can sit in it reclined. It's fantastic that it has all the different angles you can do. It's really handy, and it's not that big and not that heavy. It also can support my 110 centimeter Omnic frame, which was a present from my mum / I bought some from Natalie. So it's really, really, really helpful. So guys, thank you for catching up with me. I hope I found something interesting to listen to. Please, please, please come back, like, subscribe, comment. We love the interaction. Jenny will be back next week, and we will look forward to visiting with you then. So until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. I will be back tomorrow with the monthly challenge video with Laurie. So until then, happy stitching, everyone.